Good day, everyone, and very welcome to a live session on Fireside Chat. On behalf of IMC, this is Atul Gupta. I'm partner and head cybersecurity KPMG in India to welcome you all to this session. This is going to be a very interesting session because we have got a great professional with us to share his perspectives on how the world is going to look upon both from a cybersecurity and a data privacy as we move forward from where we are in 2020. So far, we have very clearly seen that cybersecurity has been one of the key business risks, which has been discussed and being looked upon quite extensively by the boards, audit committees, and the chief executives across the globe. But during the recent pandemic, with the increased pace of digital adoption, there has been an increased need felt upon for bringing in even more robust cybersecurity practices and risk assessment processes. And it's been shifting upon not just from cybersecurity, but focus is coming quite significantly on data, data protection, data privacy, and eventually resulting in digital trust. Some of these topics are what we are going to talk upon today in this fireside chat session. On that note, let me invite Mr. Manish Tiwari. He's a very seasoned professional, brings in very diversified experience. He's a senior vice president and CISO with Bharti Airtel. Manish, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you, Atul. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. It's a pleasure. And as I said, Manish, this has been an area which has been debated for very long, but it's been making a lot of noises at the board level. It's making a lot of impact at the chief executives of the organizations as well. And I'm sure you running the role, you have been witnessing it daily. And even in the current times, it's gone up significantly large. So I want to get started with you and get your perspectives around two areas. Saying, how have you the first one which I wanted to get your perspectives is, how have you seen the risk profile changing? And maybe you can bring in a broader perspective from a cyber orientation. And second is, how is the outlook looking like, given there are new technologies which are emerging? And more personalization of technologies are happening, which is on back of high network bandwidth capacity, which is available, low latency networks, which are being available today. And that's where it's demanding a very unique user experience, but maybe along with it, it brings its own nuances. So it will be good to get those perspectives, Manish, from you.
Sure, Atul. You've actually asked me a lot of questions, so let me divide them into slightly more manageable parts. The
Sure.
first and foremost thing is what has really changed. Oh, Atul, there is so much that has changed. I think life itself has changed in the last 1 year since the COVID pandemic has actually hit the world. Restricting myself more to do more to IT risk management. The perimeter, the corporate perimeter actually has dissolved. For a very extended period of time, where most of the professional population of this world was actually working from home, and in many cases still continues to do so, the so-called aspect of the moat around your corporate infrastructure in terms of perimeter security has dissolved even further. So, as we like to say in the field of cybersecurity, look beyond the conventional moat protection around a fort. Well, whatever little was left of it has actually completely vanished away. So it's anywhere, anytime computing. People need to be connected all the times to stay, productive, and mostly the world has been working from home. In fact, many companies have actually, in view of the risk involved and the nature of their business, they've actually given a lot of flexibility to their employees to work from home, or actually they've come up with policies saying, hey, for the foreseeable future, only 25% of my workforce is actually going to be operating from our offices. Now, when that actually happens, risk has now got extended. And how do you protect basically your infrastructure? So I call it going back to basics. It's about protecting the user. It's still about protecting the device, and it's still about protecting the data. The three pillars: device, user, and data. And you can add one more aspect to that, is basically secure communications. Now, earlier, a lot of sensitive, information systems of the company were not even accessible from outside the corporate network, which is no longer the case, right? And if that is the new reality, then you have to enable your employees to be able to continue working seamlessly on such mission critical or sensitive systems which hold very, very sensitive data, and yet not compromise on the security level. It's a combination of either virtual private networks to secure communication, or in ultra sensitive systems you basically say, hey, it doesn't matter if you are using a company laptop, I will still give access only through a virtual desktop. The data will not leave the company environment. So and you know that better than anybody else, Atul, that is still not 100% safe, right? So that a certain amount of risk always remains. But very clearly, that has what has changed. So today, this whole aspect of being able to secure the user, to secure the device, and to secure the data has assumed a very, very, a new meaning by itself. And organizations are now being forced to basically invest in cybersecurity, to look at scaling up on their cybersecurity solutions, to go and review their controls and their risk mitigation strategies. So that is one aspect of working from home, and this new paradigm shift which is actually taking place, and which I assure you is not going away for a very long time. The world has changed. Going forward, what is going to change? Very clearly, and you very rightly pointed out, cybersecurity had any which ways become a board level conversation. But I think in the manner in which it has got propelled into a CEO's conversation with the board is unprecedented in the last 12 months. There is a focused attention on all aspects of risk management. In fact, today, as we hear, the senior management is asking their teams, are we safe? What more needs to be done? Do you need to invest more? And as long as the CISO and his organization can very clearly articulate and convince that, look, this is what we really need to address, there there is a lot of support which is coming at a senior leadership level. So I completely agree with you, and that is what has changed. Now, going forward, how do you think it is going to impact the industry? Definitely, one is it is going to accelerate cloud adoption. It's going to accelerate cloud adoption not only for productivity, but a very large number of organizations basically want probably an OPEX model. They want cloud-based security solutions, which allow them to implement these solutions very quickly. So today, organizations which have realized that there are gap areas in their infrastructure and they need to do something about it are no longer willing to wait for 1 year, as we used to say, the painful process of system integration and project management, which can range anywhere from 3 months to 1 year. That's no longer the case. My team is also one, as you're aware, Atul. There is one part of my responsibility which is predominantly also providing cybersecurity solutions to our customers in the enterprise segment. Today, the conversations that we are having with our customers is they want, and particularly for those customers which did not have a SOC, a security operations center, they do not have a 24/7 monitoring process. They want that, but they are no longer willing to wait for 3 months or 4 months of system integration phase. They literally want it to be implemented in days. And I'm happy to share with you that we are able to do that for the simple reason that we also are adopting technologies for our customers, predominantly which are virtualized, cloud based, and are able to be deployed in the fastest possible time, with a lot of help from the internal AI engines that are inbuilt into some of these next generation technologies. So there is definitely a shift towards adopting new age technologies. There is
Sure.
definitely a shift towards an operational use pay as you use kind of a model. And there is a definite shift, not just for productivity but security also, onto a cloud based model, because it is very very quick to implement. And I think going forward this will only see more and more acceleration. Yeah.
Thank you, Manish, for starting this session with such deep insights. I think very clearly 3 points where you started by saying people or identity, asset or device, and the data. Those are the back to the future, back to the basics concepts, which will continue to be there, and even more now in the current environment, it will be there where that perimeter has completely gone away. And I think then what
And
you
secure,
brought up,
and secure communication, and secure channel of communication.
I was just coming on to that, right? And you beautifully brought upon on cloud also, saying that how cloud is not just coming in from a productivity, but from an agility. And it's also
Yes.
bringing upon its own nuance to help overcome some of the security challenges. While one may believe that digital adoption may bring in more security ramifications, but it's also helping us to solve those. So those were two real key takeaways, very beautifully put. Secure communication is an area, Manish, where I actually wanted to double click and get slightly more details on that one, because this has been an area where, in past, maybe the focus was not so much, but today, with the perimeter gone away, how are you getting to see the demands coming upon? And I heard you talking upon in your role, you bring in two perspectives. One is obviously from an enterprise, the second is from your customers. And customers could be again enterprise segment customers. How are you seeing the demand changing? And is this only a temporary, or is this something where the world has gone through a reset?
Very, very good question, Atul. Very valid. And I will confess that, and this is my belief, I think the change is permanent. The change is permanent, but because people are looking at certain aspects of cybersecurity and risk management with a very different set of colored spectacles. Predominantly because this whole COVID crisis has also accelerated digitization. And that's been one of the key aspects of survival for many companies. The companies which were very highly digitized have been able to ride this storm far better. But as you digitize more, right, and your outreach to your customers becomes more and more digital, your surface area of attack with respect to cyber risk also increases. So you can imagine, if I correctly remember, there is a industry report somewhere which says that there has been a 40% rise in cyber risk insurance consumption of cyber risk, a 40% rise in that. Now that's a very clear indication on the realization of the aspects of cyber risk and what damage it can do to a company's business continuity and availability of its services in case they don't manage or mitigate those risks. So that is one such indication. And going forward, I feel this is permanent because digitization, it's a one-way street. Now that people have started tasting the fruits of digitization, and they have seen their productivity and their outreach to customers having gone up, right? They just as I say, ye dil mange more. So they organize in India, they want more. And as it happens, the cat is out of the bag with as far as the IT risk aspects are concerned. So
Beautiful.
going forward, what people want primarily, and what I'm hearing from customers, Atul, they want security which is largely inbuilt. They want solutions, and they're not for products anymore. And as you know, in Bharti Airtel, I mean, eventually we provide connectivity. That's our core. To organizations, we enable them. We What we are looking and bringing to our customers now is how can we give you a secure pipe? How can we basically bring security into your very channels of community, into the lifeline that is core to your business? And I think
Absolutely.
that's the way going forward. Yeah.
I couldn't agree more with you, and great to hear, Manish. That's already what the customers are demanding, and that's as a provider, you're already working and providing it already, because the world has
That's
gone through a big reset. It's not going to come back to the past what we know. And these things, these solutions are going to define the future. The last one, Manish, I know this is a very interesting conversation, but I also want to bring for the benefit of our audiences, because you highlighted on data, and that's been an area where there is a bit of a debate still on. As a country, we're still trying to come across with our own regulations around data, but globally we are seeing a big shift coming across. And you, as a large provider, understand the importance of a data as well very clearly. Will be good to get your perspectives from a data protection and a data privacy, and how do you see it unfolding moving forward from here?
Atul, and I know you're primarily referring to the data protection bill, which is in fairly advanced stages and is for the country. I think it's a very good step. It's a good move because it's important to have I would say reasonable amount of cybersecurity technologies and controls and adherence to standards. India is digitizing at a very rapid pace, uh, and we have a large population base, young population base, which is, I would say, very proudly very tech savvy, and whether it's use of particularly smartphones and applications and so on and so forth. So there is a huge amount of personal data, PII data, that is generated within the country, and all I'll say is it is the need of the hour. It's a good move. The government is listening to the industry. The government is also, as you're aware, that bill is still a work in progress. Uh, and I think they're doing the right step. They're calling various verticals in the industry and seeking their inputs and their feedback. And I'm sure the government will take a very balanced view going forward, so that the PR the personal data protection achieves what it sets out to do, which is basically protect the citizen. And at the same time, it's a balanced legislation, which basically ensures that it does not act as a roadblock for customers or for growth of business, and also does not make the cost of adhering or adoption of such guidelines and standards very prohibitive, particularly for the huge startup ecosystem that we have in the country. And the law, as it applies, would obviously apply uniformly to everybody. And hence, it is very important not only to look at the large companies, but also to look at a very, very large startup ecosystem. And the government is on the right track. As I read in the papers, and I see and I hear, I think we are, as a country, we are on the right track.
Great perspectives, Manish, and couldn't agree more with you. It's a direction in which the country is making right steps. And I think you beautifully also articulated the balance between the cost to compliance and what we are trying to protect, considering the larger ecosystem. And it's eventually becoming, and there's already conversation saying data protection along with cybersecurity is becoming something called digital trust, which the customers are looking forward to. So you summed it up very well. Thank you so much, Manish. And I know there were three key themes we picked up on. You started by keeping it basics, going back to the basics in the new world. Then you talked on secure communication, which is the way of life now going forward. Despite whatever technologies come across, secure communication is the key and fundamental. And data privacy and data protection along with it is something which will have to be embedded. And it can't come up as an add-on. It needs to be there by design. I think I love that line when you said customers or stakeholders are today looking not at technology, they're looking at solutions, be it cyber or be it privacy. Thank you, Manish. I know this session can go on and on with your depth in the subject. We can go on, but just we constrained by time. But great insights. I'm sure all the audiences who are going to look through the session are going to gain a lot of out of it. Thank you so much for
Thank you.
today, Manish.
Thank you for
Have a
having
good
me,
day.
Atul. Have a good day.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
Good day. Bye.